Hey everybody, Coach Bruce here with our next video. And today we're going to cover 12 ways of how you can respect yourself. But before we get into that, for those of you that are back again, bless you for being here. Love having you here. For those of you that are here for the very first time, go ahead and click subscribe now so you don't forget to do that later. And feel free to like the video and share the video if you've learned something today that you think somebody else might be a benefit to. Always feel free to leave your comments below. If you have an idea or a topic that you'd like me to cover in one of our future videos, feel free to drop me a comment there and I'll get that covered as quickly as possible. Okay. So why is it important that we learn how to respect ourselves? Well, the same reason it's important that we learn how to love ourselves. If we can't learn how to respect ourselves, how can we expect other people to respect us? You know, one of the biggest reasons why people disrespect us is they don't see that we respect ourselves, right? And, you know, a lot of people think that people that do respect themselves, that project this, forward energy, they sometimes come across as narcissistic or conceited, but that's really not true, right? These people that have a good deal of self-respect are people that have learned how to love themselves wholeheartedly and authentically, and they're actually able to receive more love, and in turn they're able to show more love to other people as long as they're respect, right? So let's get into some things. Number one, you got to figure out what makes you respect yourself, right? What are some things about you that you respect? In other words, what are some things about you that you do on a daily basis that make you feel really good about yourself? Do you get up in the morning and exercise? Do you get up in the morning and wash your face and Q-tip your ears out and brush your teeth, do your hair, makeup if you wear makeup, and make sure that when you leave out of your front door, you're presentable to society in a way that makes you feel good and feel proud of who you are and what you're projecting, right? Everybody has a routine. What is it about your routine that you do on a regular basis that makes you feel good about yourself? And keep doing those things, right? Take pride, and there's nothing wrong with pride, but take pride in who you are and the things that make you feel good, and continue to do this, right? Second thing is, that you can do to learn how to have more respect for yourself is you have to be honest about who you are and honest about who you're not. Once you know what makes you feel good, continue to prioritize those things. Continue to do those things, not only with yourself, but with other people as well. You have to, you got to lead with honesty. You have to lead with integrity, and go back to the video that we did on honesty and integrity and ask yourself those three questions. Are you being honest with yourself? Or do you have self-integrity, and do you trust yourself, right? Understand and define those things for you, or learn how to define those things for you and hold them true and dear to you. So, part of being honest with who you are and who you're not also comes down to what you do on a daily basis. Are you working in a job that you're not happy with? Do you have a career that doesn't bring you joy, that doesn't bring you happiness? Right? If you are, then you're not being honest with yourself and what it is that you're supposed to do. Therefore, you're disrespecting your own talents and your own interests. And you're also disrespecting somebody else that might be the perfect fit for what it is that you're doing, right? So if you find that you're in a career path or doing things that you don't get joy out of doing, find that thing that brings you the joy. Find that thing that brings you happiness and go do that, and let somebody else do what you're doing, because that might be what brings them joy, right? So be honest about who you are and who. You have to respect yourself by taking action around things that excite you. Yes, taking action on things that are unknown can be scary. Again, getting out of that self-perpetuated bubble of misery that we've become comfortable with because we know what to expect next is difficult at times, because we're never guaranteed our ideal outcome. And that can cause us to either creep back into that bubble or stay in that bubble and never step out of it. But, as we've covered before, some of the most successful people, they're not afraid of trying something new. Look at, just for example, example, look at Mark Zuckerberg. He dropped out of Harvard. He had a full ride to Harvard. He dropped out of Harvard, and everybody knows what came after that, And then you got Steve Jobs, that started Apple out of his garage, right? So you look at, Hershey's, Hershey's candy. Everybody knows Hershey's candy, They started with, the Milky Way candy bar, and they got a loan for $500. And that $500 loan that they got to start their line of candy bars, look at where they're at now. Hershey's is huge, right? So dare to be different, right? Step out of your own perpetual bubble of misery that you're uncomfortably comfortable in, and learn how to be uncomfortable. Going back to another video that we covered, some of the most successful people in the world, they get comfortable at being uncomfortable, because when you become comfortable at being comfortable, you're destined to stay where you're at. You're not going to go anywhere else, So that leads us to number 4 is stop trying so hard to be normal. Stop trying to get in to fit in, right? Dare to be different. We've covered this before. You have to dare to be different. Stop, staying in the middle of the road, because people that are constantly in the middle of the road, they end up getting run over, right? Take the high road, take the fast lane, and do what is on your heart to do. Do what makes you happy, the things that bring you joy, and pass these people that are just trying to get in to fit in. Right? So the only way you're going to stand out is, to keep it real with yourself. Be yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but, you got to consider all those people that you look up to, have taken ownership of in some way, shape, or form of what sets them apart, and they leverage it to their advantage, right? These successful people, that have found relevance and success and have been able to find that happy medium where they can be successful and relevant at the same time, and they can lay their head on their pillow at night and be happy with who they are and what they're doing in life and where they're going. They take that and they use it to their advantage to become even more successful and more relevant, and they're not worried about fitting in with any. They have fortitude within inside themselves to be different, because they know they are different. They know that they are one of a kind, and they have gifts and talents that are tied to a purpose, and they're doing the things that bring them joy because they're walking on the path of fulfilling, right? And, being your true authentic self and not fitting into everybody else brings us to number 5. Don't let other people define your boundary. Many people have, pretty good intentions, but their advice is often clouded by their own emotional back. When someone tells you you'll never be able to do that, or you shouldn't do this, or you can't do that, those are their own fears that they're trying to project to you, because they don't believe that they can do it themselves, so therefore they don't believe that you can do it either. So just ignore them until you figure it out what is true for you, and then what is the truth behind it. Somebody say, well, you can't do this. Well, is that true, or is it the truth? It might be true for them, and you might think it's true for you, but is it really the truth, right? So whatever it is that you want to do, whoever it is that you become, set your own boundaries for that. Don't let anybody else impede upon your boundaries and get you to stay in the place that they desire you to. Because 9 times out of 10, the only reason they want you there is because they need company, because they're miserable. And the old saying goes, misery loves company. Well, you don't need misery as a company. The only thing you need to keep you company, the only person you need to keep you company is you. You have to learn how to be your own best friend, right? And which ties into all this. In order to be your own best friend, you have to be able to learn how to love yourself authentically and wholeheartedly, and how to respect yourself, right? So that brings us to number 6, after learning how to set your boundaries, and that's, you have to learn how to say no. Letting others know that what's not okay doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a strong and a respectable person. When you stop saying yes to things you don't want to do, you create more time and energy to engage in the activities and engage with people that do create happiness within, right? And you have to learn how to get in a habit of saying no. If somebody wants you to do something that keeps you from fulfilling your purpose, that deviates you from the path that you're on, you have to say no. If somebody is going to talk to you any kind of way they want to talk, and that's not acceptable to you, you have to say no. You're not going to do that. You can't say those things, right? It's not acceptable. And a lot of times when we find ourselves in a position where throw away our self-respect is in relationship, right? When you start dating, right? I've spoke to countless people who have so much to offer, but are stuck in a relationship that forces them to compromise some part of who they are and live in a state of numbing self-sacrifice. So, when you find yourself in that position, and if you are in that position, you have to be able to gather up as much self-respect that you can muster up for yourself and start over, and it's going to be scary, because you might find that you have to break off that relationship, but breaking off that relationship will be less painful for you in the long run than being stuck in a relationship that isn't benefiting, that causes you to compromise and to settle for less than who you actually are. And it's less painful than being with a partner who doesn't want or isn't capable of reciprocating what it is that you're sharing. So you have to, again, that goes back to establishing boundaries, right? So that was number 7. You gotta choose the people that are around you. You gotta choose the people that are going to respect you. So number 8, let whatever you get done today be enough. Showing self-respect means not being overly critical, overly judgmental, or overly restrictive. It's easy to chain ourselves to a to-do list and then gauge our worthiness on how much of it we actually get done, right? We did a video on, time management versus activity management. We've learned that we can't manage time because time is an ever-going thing, but we can manage the activities that we have within but we have to be realistic with those activities as well, right? So practice making purposeful shifts towards self-kindness by saying to yourself as you finish your activity, and contemplate the next. I could do this or I could do that. If I choose to stop now, I will allow whatever I have completed today be enough, and I'm not going to beat myself up for it. Sometimes we have the best intentions. We make out our list of activities that we want to do, but you might not feel good. You might be ill. You might be sick. You might get a headache. You might have some things going on inside yourself that just have your mind preoccupied and you're not able to focus. So you might not be able to get through that whole list of activities that you've written for yourself. And if you don't get it done, that's okay. It's okay. It'll be there for tomorrow. I'm not saying purposely procrastinate, but be realistic with yourself and understand that most days you're going to get everything on that list done. But if you don't get things on that list done, that's okay too. So learn how to give yourself a break and not beat yourself up. Don't be overly critical and judgmental, right? You also have to understand, which brings us to number 9, you are not a product of your environment, okay? You are who you are. You have a choice every day to be your true, authentic self. You have to take off those labels that people have placed on and get rid of because they don't define you. You define, right? You could spend your life trying to untie all the knots and break all the chains, right, from your family lineage, from your generations. And if that's what you decide to do, hey, that's your choice. But you can reflect on your childhood influence. You can reflect on the things that were imposed upon you while you were growing up. And you can say, hey, that's not me. I know who I am. And I'm going to choose to be my true authentic self because that is who I'm happy. I'm not this just because somebody declared that over me. I'm not that because somebody said I was. I can be this regardless of what anybody else thinks. I can do this regardless of how smart everybody or how ignorant everybody may think I am. I can do whatever I choose to do because I am who I am and this is my life. I'm going to live it according to my rules. I'm going to write my own story. I'm not going to let other people write my story for me, right? So number 10, apologize with self-respect. Never, ever say you're sorry. That goes back to our other video, because you never should declare yourself to be something less you are. But it's okay to apologize. But when you apologize with self-respect, right? It's an important part of apologizing is learning not to make mistakes, because it's just disrespectful to the other people and to your integrity. Or not mistakes. I do apologize. Excuses. Don't make excuses. It's disrespectful to you, and it's disrespectful to, right? So my apologies on that misspeech there. But getting back on track, next time you're tempted to plead your case, put your hand across your chest, put your hand on your heart, and check in with your inner self, right? Check in with who you really are. Check in with, your integrity and your trust and your honesty that you have for yourself. And listen to the truth that you're telling. And if an apology is necessary, then simply apologize. Hold yourself accountable, because other people are definitely going to hold you accountable. So you have to learn how to be able to apologize in a way where you're holding yourself accountable, showing yourself enough respect not to make excuses for yourself and then take those excuses and throw them at others, okay? So number 11 is you have to be willing to accept reality, right? You must be willing to see things and people as they are. It can be painful to acknowledge that there's a problem with us or with people that we love or with a situation. But if you don't deal with the problem with curiosity and courtesy, your situation is just going to stretch out longer. And it's not very respectful of your time and your energy, right? Trust people or believe people to be who they are. If you know somebody's a liar and they've lied to you continuously, accept them for that, and understand that if you choose to deal with that person, more than likely you're going to get lied to. So you can't get upset with that person when they do, because you have to understand that that's who they are. A thief is going to steal from you more than likely. So, if you're going away for the weekend and somebody that has this kleptomaniac habit, where they like to steal little things, that's probably not the person you want to have with the key to your house and say, hey, can you watch my crib for the weekend while I go out of town, right? Because more than likely you come back, something's going to be missing, right? You have to accept people for who they are, right? You have to accept reality for what it is. So understand that we live in the real, but we don't have to be up, right? You can be who you want to be, but you also have to trust other people to be who they are as well. And stop trying to get them to become somebody that you desire them to be, because they can only be their true authentic self just as much as you can be yourself. And last thing we're going to cover today, number 12, you got to learn to love yourself for who you are, right? You got to be able to look in that mirror and like Mary J. Blige has a song out now, Good Morning Gorgeous. Right? You got to be able to wake up in the morning and look in that mirror and be like, good morning, gorgeous, right? If, for the guys, hey, if you want to be gorgeous, be gorgeous, Ric Flair, he thought he was gorgeous, for my longtime wrestling fans, right? But you got to be able to wake up and be able to love yourself, right? Have enough respect to love yourself for who you are, right? Even if you're not exactly where you want to be in life, even if, you haven't gotten to that level of success and relevance that you desire to be at yet, love yourself for who you are. Love yourself for where you're at. Happy with the skin that you're in, right? Love yourself. Give yourself those positive affirmations. Good morning, gorgeous. Hello, handsome, right? Wow, you're amazing. Wow, you're blessed. Wow, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're witty, Love yourself. That creates self-respect, because in order, as we said at the beginning, for you to be able to respect yourself, you have to learn how to love yourself, because until you can learn how to love yourself, you're going to have a really difficult time being able to respect yourself, and other people are going to have a difficult time respecting you as well. So feel free to leave your comments on this. I hope you guys got some insight. Hopefully you take these 12 things and contemplate them and roll them around inside your head. and figure out what it is you're doing that you are showing yourself respect for, and then things that you need to start doing in order to show yourself even more respect. And the more respect that you can show yourself, the more respect other people are going to have for you, because you'll know who you're not going to settle for anything less deserved. You're going to establish your boundaries, and people are going to have no choice but to respect that about you. Okay? So, love you guys. God bless you for being here. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below. And until next time, God bless you, and I'll see you then.